Have you ever tried to set boundaries but actually got walked all over and nobody really listened to what you're saying? The reason is that simply words are not effective alone as a way to set effective boundaries. In this short video, I'll just give you the key of setting effective boundaries and why it has not worked for you before. My name is Alexandra Golovko. I'm a somatic and yoga coach, and I share all about my own experience building my own boundaries and self-confidence through somatic practices, but also through yoga. So in today's video, we're going to be looking into why you've been setting boundaries not quite right up until now. To understand about this topic, you need to understand what people-pleasing and avoidance of conflict is like in your body and what happens when you actually activate those defensive mechanisms. Because basically what people-pleasing is, it's an autopilot response of your nervous system that learned that this is the way to deal with any type of situation where a conflict can arise. So it's basically overriding your own needs, and it's like a certain protocol that's been established in your body as a way to respond to those situations where you fear that whatever you're going to be saying is not aligned with the needs of the other person. So your body has developed this protocol. It's basically like going all out and pleasing the other person, agreeing with whatever they're saying, fawning, and this is a nervous system response. So what happens is that once you get into a threat situation, your nervous system gets activated. And just like any type of alarm system, it just turns on, and it turns on the people-pleasing response and the fawning. And what it is basically a mechanism that is there that you don't need to think about. It's basically working on its own. And what it does, it analyzes the other person really quickly. It understands very quickly what they want to hear, and it lets them know exactly what they want to hear. So basically, it's like an analysis of the other person, and it's giving them straight away what they need. So that's what people-pleasing is. And at no point in that mechanism, you actually go inward and check what you really need, because this is considered as irrelevant in the response. In your view, you just need to answer and please whatever that other person needs to feel safe. And why to feel safe? Because maybe now your logic is thinking that I actually don't need that to feel safe, but it's still happening. Well, it's still something that your nervous system has learned probably quite early on, but it could have been in young years as well, like a teenage years. But whenever it learned that this was a life-threatening situation back then. And now it's just replicating it. It's because you didn't teach it something else, another way to respond to similar situation. And the thing is, now you learn all about boundaries and you hear about the fact that you should say no to people. And the thing is, if you don't address the actual protocol that your nervous system has developed, the words that you put in your mouth, or like you force yourself to actually say them, they will not be effective because you're not communicating from a place where your whole body is in agreement with you. Your body just wants to go into its protocol, its usual defense mechanism. And you're kind of violating that and overriding that approach and giving the nervous system even more concern, because then it tries to protect itself even stronger. Basically, it holds on the protective mechanism even stronger if you're trying to violate it. So what happens is, for a boundary to be really respected and really understood, your nervous system needs to be in a calm state. So for that to happen, this requires quite a bit of work of rewiring and making your body safe in understanding that it can actually change its response and that it's okay to change it. And to do that, it's like a training, a somatic training that you can do. It's like practicing with smaller situations where you would usually fawn, and in this case you will say something different. Like in a hairdresser, for instance, you would always say, oh, I like my new haircut, thank you, but actually you don't. And maybe a first attempt would be to say it, that you actually don't like it. And you'll see it's super difficult, because even though it's, one might consider, not so high stake situation, still it's very difficult to say to somebody's face that you don't like what they just did. So these are the smaller situations. And even before that, actually training your nervous system, imagining those situations and really vividly imagining them, and equipping yourself with support, with a safe environment, and trying to imagine you saying something different prior. This actually is also a super great tool, because what happens is that your imagination and the reality, your brain interprets it exactly the same way. It has visual input, whether it comes from actual vision or if it comes from your mind, it doesn't matter for the brain. It's actually the same. And nervous system, exactly the same. So you can simply imagine something and imagine yourself responding something else, and this already will train your nervous system to actually respond differently in a new situation. But this work has to happen prior, because if you don't do it, you just kind of put a band-aid on a very big wound and it's continuing to bleed, but the band-aid is very superficial, it will not help. So this is really what just saying boundary sentences without actually rewiring your system really is. The only way to do this, it requires somatic practice, it requires maybe EMDR practices, maybe embodied practices, anything that goes deeper and works not from the mind, not from the story, but deeper in the felt sense, in the nervous system itself. Because that's where those reflexes or those protocols, like I call them, are actually stored. They're a go-to response. They're there since a while, they've been developed, and you need to train and understand that this is not needed anymore. But for that, you also need to understand that those responses were never there against you. They're always there to protect you. They're never there to do you harm. It's the opposite. So hating on them actually makes them stronger, because they're thinking that, like if you imagine them as a part of your being, like these defensive mechanisms, they're actually wanting your well-being. They're there to protect you. And you're trying to get rid of them, they're thinking, okay, I need to protect them even more. So that's really what happens. So this gentle approach towards these mechanisms, towards these parts of you that actually protect you in that way, is super important. So that's why I wanted to let you know why just saying the words, it's not enough, because they're not going to be respected. And the other person is not going to take them seriously, because they can sense that you're activated. They can sense that there is a weakness there and that you've been triggered and that whatever you're saying, you don't believe in it. Whereas if you say it in a very calm, relaxed nervous system state, they will take it seriously, believe me. That's what's communicating really the seriousness of what you're saying. And they know that whatever you are saying, you will follow up. So it's not just going to be words, but this is a warning, and then there's going to be actions. So, you know what's left to do? You need to work on your nervous system and your somatic work that needs to happen on your nervous system. All right, if you like this video, there's plenty of content on my page around people-pleasing, boundaries. You can just go there and check it out, maybe even longer videos that I have. And otherwise, if you really would like to dive deeper in the concept of boundaries, I have a free masterclass that's linked underneath this video that you can check out. It's called The Confidence Blueprint, and I explain everything about boundaries there. Thank you so much again for watching, and see you in the next video.